on, guys? Brooke here, and today I am going over 10 ways on how to improve your writing. Sometimes your confidence just isn't there and you think to yourself, how can I improve this? How can I try and get my writing to the level that I know it can be? Whenever I was done writing my first book that I had ever finished working on, I was thrilled. I was so excited. But whenever going back to read it, I was just flabbergasted by how just poorly written it was. I needed some help. I needed to improve my writing. And whether you're an experienced writer or if you're a beginning writer, sometimes you just need a helping hand. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's go over these 10 tips that I have for you to help improve your writing. Tip number 1, read lyrics to songs. Whenever I have issues with writing certain sentences or paragraphs, and I'll look over the sentence that I had just typed up, and I'll think, this just isn't as impactful as I'm wanting it to be. It's not as lively of a sentence, and it doesn't just jump out at the page at me. I need something to help make it pop. So if I'm needing a little inspiration, I'll go ahead and look up songs of artists or bands that I know have great lyrics that they have written in their music. And I'll go ahead and look up the lyrics to these songs that I'm wanting to look up, so that way I can physically see in front of me the words that they are singing for their song. I'll throw this out for an example. Take Lana Del Rey. Her lyrics to her songs are gorgeous. They are very well thought out, and they just have a really poetic way about them. There was this one time where I was looking up a song that she had done called Carmen, and there was this one line from there that I took great inspiration from whenever I was stuck. And so the line from her song was, "She gives him butterflies, bats her cartoon eyes." The thing I like about this sentence is her cartoon eyes. That just paints such a clear and beautiful image in my head while reading that. Think of it this way, if the line had said, "She gives him butterflies and bats her eyes," that's fine, it's okay. But adding in cartoon before eyes, she gives him butterflies and bats her cartoon eyes. That just makes it so much more poppy, and it just really sticks out at you while reading over those lyrics. Just seeing a little line from a song just can make something just go click inside your head and go, okay, that I can kind of work with that. I can go ahead and maybe have a variation of this line from the song work in the sentence that I'm trying to write out. I will add, do not steal ideas and lyrics from songs and put those lines into your work. Do not do that. You're just supposed to take inspiration. Take note and inspiration. Do not steal. Tip number 2, look up different synonyms for words. If you're in the middle of writing a sentence and you're trying to come up with a better word suited for, let's say, walk. If you didn't like using walk in a sentence, what else can you use besides walk? You can use different synonyms to replace that kind of more plain word that is seen over and over again with a word that just kind of sticks out at you, like stroll. And I know in Microsoft Word, if you right click a word, you're able to kind of go into the little menu bar, or whatever you want to call it, right by the word, and you're able to go to synonyms, and you can kind of look at all these different variations that would kind of be a good substitute and placement for the word you're trying to use. I recently started writing my book on Scrivener. At this time of using Scrivener, I have not found a way to do this where I can easily look up synonyms for words in Scrivener, like how I did in Microsoft Word. So I'll go to Google or something and I'll just type in synonyms for walk or something. I think it's like thesaurus.com is where you can go and look up that type of stuff. Going to sites like that, you're able to look at several different choices that you could use for synonyms to replace the word that you originally had written down. That will definitely help you have a different kick to your sentence that you're wanting to use. Tip number 3, write in multiple genres. Okay, so I'm not meaning write full books in multiple genres. That takes some time. Writing several books takes time, and writing several books in multiple genres will definitely over time improve your writing. What I mean by write in multiple genres is maybe if you're kind of starting out writing but you don't know what to write about and you're not sure of how your writing prose are going to look like. Try and write the beginning, maybe a couple first pages of a story that you think you could probably go ahead and write out. And then after you write a couple pages there, kind of play with how maybe things will go for the beginning of that story. Then you can write another story in a completely different type of genre and go ahead and practice what you think that kind of story will be and what that type of genre will lead you into. During the age of 20 24, 23, I think 24, I had joined a creative writing course at my community college in town. And doing that, I started writing a whole new book because of the project that we were working on for class. And I did it in a completely different genre than what I had previously written my first book in. And writing in a whole new genre just opened my mind up to so many different things. I had so many fresh new ideas, had so many different things I had never thought I could write and do. I was just so shocked by my writing voice just taking off before me, and I had no idea where that had come from. So writing in a different genre really helped release my creativity, and it just made something so new and fresh for my writing voice, and I loved it. You do not have to complete writing the whole books to these genres that you're working on, but being in those different genres and being in that different type of mindset of what all you can do here and what all you can do here, it really opens doors for you. Like I said, you can just kind of write maybe the first chapter of all these different genres, and then once you kind of have played around a little bit, then your writing voice is starting to come into play. Then you can kind of pick a story to work on, know that the other stories you were working on with other different genres you can put on the back burner for later. But since you had worked on the beginning of those different stories, it really helped kind of push the boundaries of what you thought you could do as a writer. Writing in different genres definitely makes you believe that you can write anything. Tip number 4, partake in writing prompts. There's kind of different ideas of what an actual writing prompt is. Some people think it's like, what do you see out the window? Describe the sounds and the way of the wind, or something like that. Or there's different writing prompts where it's kind of more situational. Like, for example, you're kidnapped and you are trapped in the cellar in this house that you have no idea where you're at, and you are handcuffed to a pipe. What do you hear? What are you scared of? What do you smell? Are you cold? Are you hot? Some people may not like writing prompts because it's not really attributing to a story that you're working on, but doing these writing prompts will help you write better. It'll help you get to know your 5 senses: seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting. Oh goodness, what's the other one? Touching. Touching is the other one. Writing prompts really help you kind of be in the moment and experience what a character might experience in a troubled time, or in a time of where they're excited or happy, or if they're on a spaceship and the air is cold and chill because they're in space, and listening to the hums of the spaceship work as it's orbiting through the galaxy. Stuff like that just really helps train your brain on how you think as a writer and how you'll go about writing future scenes in the long run. Tip number 5, become a beta reader. I love beta reading for people. It really opens your eyes of what others can do. Even while they were in the middle of their first drafts, it was really great to see what all strengths that people had. And then it was also very easy to see the weaknesses they had as well. Seeing the strengths and weaknesses of people's writing will help you to see, oh, I didn't like that of that girl's writing, and I also see that in mine now that I'm looking back on mine. I need to change that. I loved his descriptions, and I need to make mine a little bit more impactful like his. And this one brings me into tip number 6, which is have some of your chapters beta read. If you're in the middle of writing your book and you're not sure how it's going and you personally don't know if others will like it, go ahead and see if someone is willing to read maybe the first 3 chapters or 5 chapters of your book, so that way they can give you their opinions on whether or not you should keep going with the story that you're telling and how you're telling it. I personally wouldn't have family or friends beta read for you. Others may think it's fine, but I know my mom, and she would just tell me, oh yeah, this is really good, sweetie, yeah, it's nice. But I want the truth. I don't want to be having my story be sugar-coated. If it's bad, I want to know if it's bad. But just tell me in a nice way. You can go onto forums like on Goodreads or NaNoWriMo sites or Discord, whatever platform that is dealing with writing. I'm sure that you're easily able to type in on a forum saying, I need some beta readers to go over 3 or 5 chapters of my book. Is anyone willing to do this for me? Especially if it's not a whole book, I think lots of people would love to help someone out whenever it's not so much of a hefty read for them to do. Tip number 7, read books that are similar to the book that you're writing. Everyone has heard that reading will help your writing. I know this, everyone knows this. It has been beaten over our heads ever since we started putting pen to paper, or fingers to keyboard, however you want to say it. But honestly, it's like the best advice. It works. It really helps to just kind of get a flow of a story, get a flow of sentence structure and all the good stuff in between. But if your typical reading is reading YA contemporary, but you're writing an adult fantasy, you might want to change up your reading material at the time of whenever you're writing your book. Taking notes and inspiration from the books that you're writing will greatly help you in your writing journey of your own book as well. Right now, I am writing a book about vampires in the 1920s in New Orleans. So to help me get into good inspiration and creativity with those types of genres I'm writing in, I am reading books in those types of genres. I just read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, which is about vampires. And I am almost done reading The Diviners by Libba Bray, in which that takes place in the 1920s. So now I just need to find a book that takes place in New Orleans and I'll be all set to go. But since I'm reading these books that have genres that are similar somewhat to the book I'm writing in right now, has been so beneficial. It's sparking ideas to things that I hadn't really thought about before. And once again, I am not stealing ideas, but I am taking note and inspiration from these books that I am reading. Tip number 8, read books on the craft of writing. I'm sad to say that the only book that I have written that somehow talking about creative writing skills is On Writing by Stephen King, which is awesome, by the way. Half of it is autobiography and the other half of it is more about writing skills, but the combination of them two together is just wonderful. I have the audiobook of On Writing, and so I have listened to that so many times I can't even count, but Stephen King is the one who narrates it, and him narrating it just makes it so much more personable. I don't really have other books on the craft of writing, and I need to get out there and do it. I would love to start listening to audiobooks that talk about writing. And so since it's 2018, new year, I am definitely going to start listening to a lot more stuff that will be based on writing talk. Also, I want to listen to The Creative Pen by Joanna Penn on her podcast. I've been wanting to do that forever and I just have never gotten around to it. Because I think if you are serious about your work as a writer, that you need to be serious about learning all that there is to know. And that last one kind of segues into tip number 9, which is take a creative writing course. Not only had I done a creative writing course at my community college, but I also did a creative writing course that was an online course. I learned the 3-act structure, what's the difference from story and plot, character arcs. So there's lots of different types of knowledge that you can benefit from a creative writing course. Knowledge is power, so try and have all the knowledge that you can just scramble up together so that way you can write the best book that you can. And tip number 10 is kind of an easier one, and you're already doing it now, is watch AuthorTube videos. I really do think that one of the biggest impacts for me of improving my writing is watching videos like this, where it's tutorials on how to do certain things and how to not do certain things whenever you're writing. If you're having trouble with like one particular thing, type it up on YouTube and I'm sure you'll be able to find it. There's so many different writing tutorials out there, and once you find a particular person that you like, stay with them, because I'm sure they have a plethora of videos that you can go ahead and binge watch. Sometimes it's nice to just watch people like you, someone who is an average Joe who loves to write, someone who is a real person who at the end of the day is sitting down behind their camera and is just wanting to help other authors succeed, because that's what they had wanted for themselves whenever they were starting their writing journey. So that's it. Those are my 10 tips on how to help you improve your writing. I hope they helped in some way, and this is one of my first somewhat tutorials that I have done on my channel, and I hope to do more in the future. So if you learned anything from this video, or if you just liked watching this video, go ahead and give me a like down below, and also let me know in the comments of which tip helped you out the most, or what you think probably will help you out the most. If you feel like chit-chatting outside of YouTube, you can go ahead and follow me on my social media. I am on Twitter and Instagram. If you liked what you saw on my channel, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below, and also make sure to click the little bell icon so that way you're notified on when I post new videos. And thank you all so much for stopping by today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!